Folks in cyberspace, at this time we want to welcome you to Focus on Liberia. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. This is Focus on Liberia on our program Q&A with Smith Toby. Mr. Toby is the Deputy Presidential Press Secretary of our country, Liberia, and he speaks for the President of Liberia. Every other Sunday, we sit with Mr. Toby and asking all the questions Liberians have for their President George Manawia. It is yet another opportunity to be with Mr. Toby, folks, in cyberspace. Those of you in Facebook land and those of you also on YouTube who follow us daily, welcome and welcome to our broadcast. I am Anthony C, as always, co-hosting with my partner Dennis Jai. And in this edition of our show, our guest is also Mr. Smith Toby, Deputy Presidential Press Secretary of the Republic. Welcome to the show. Hit that share button, and we are getting started. Mr. Jai, I think all is said from my end. Let us do this.
Thank you, Mr. Sear. Again, this is Focus on Liberia. This is Q&A with Deputy Presidential Press Secretary, Mr. Smith Toby. Mr. Toby, welcome to our broadcast.
Well, again, let me say thanks to the team. It's good seeing you guys after a week, and good to be back on your platform. We are always happy. Let me extend greetings to your viewers, the followers and lovers of the show, Liberians and others who follow this very informative show. It is always my pleasure to be here. And I'm happy every time we assemble like this. It is good about our country. It is good I'm here on another Sunday.
Thank you so much and welcome. We are glad to have you. It is always important to hear from our leaders because whenever information fails to be transmitted, what happens is rumors mongering takes place. So we don't want that. So we are privileged to have the Deputy Press Secretary, who is the mouthpiece of the president, to come and talk to us and talk to Liberians. The questions we have here are questions not just in our own minds, but in the minds of the Liberian people, so that Mr. Toby can give some clarity on the issues. Thank God that we have technology. Mr. Toby is in Monrovia. We are in the United States, and we are sitting like we're in the same room. We're happy to have this, and we're glad to have you. Our viewers really do appreciate your time. So, Mr. CA, let's run through the issues.
Talking about the issue, what should we rather start with first, other than the birthday of our President George Manawia? We learned from the media and from what we've seen so far that the president turned 54. And so there was a big celebration. And we have the mouthpiece of the president here. And so, Mr. Toby, the president is 54. I want to believe, and maybe you have heard some things from him. How is he doing at 54? Is he feeling much younger? Or is he worrying about the issues that are confronting the country?
Well, I think giving all to God first, the president on the eve of his 54th birthday decided to take a new look. Okay. That is, he was trying to get away with the gray hair, that seemed to be taking over his body, his face. So he had a brand new haircut. He took off all of the beard, the mustache. He gave himself a very brand new haircut. I've been thinking that at 54, he looks very young, and despite the age. So he's up. He's been up with a lot of energy before his birthday, and since the celebration of his birthday, he's been doing very well. He got some very new direction, and he's been praising God for giving him his life. Born 1966, except there's something else to show But what we've been reading about his life, even before he became president, tells us that he was born in 1966 in Claratown, Gibraltar, Moserado, and counting from his date of birth, October 1, to the year we are, he clocked 54 years. And so he's very appreciative that he's still being counted among the living. And he's blessed God for his life coming up as a boy who had his own difficulties in life, who's gone through many challenges, from the football field to the community he lived, to his experiences in Europe and other parts of the world. Today, he served his country as president. He got a whole story to tell about his upbringing. So he's happy. He going to church today after his birthday and praise God and just explain the beauty of life and his struggle coming up as a boy and now as a sitting president.
Good. And that's a very, very good feeling celebrating your birthday. We saw during the President Tadma's birthday used to be a big celebration going around the counties. And I saw that with my own eyes with President Doe. I think the celebration around the counties collapsed in Sino. It was not held. Are we expecting to see the president's birthday being, rotational, going from county to county, or having such pomp and pageantry when it comes to the president's birthday?
Well, I'm not sure. We haven't reached that moment. I haven't heard the president talked about that. I've seen president declare their birthday as holiday. I've seen presidents celebrate the birthday with very big glamour, big celebration. This is one president of our time who is yet to get involved in declaring his birthday as a national holiday. He's been very excited about things he wants to see happen on his birthday. And he goes about doing those things that will not cause embarrassment for the country. Sometimes it's quiet, but because he's a president, so he opens his corridor for friends and well-wishers to come in and wish him well. And at times he's involved with maybe grace one or two occasions. So his birthday is always planned in a very quiet way, but again, with the attachment of us Liberians to him, sometimes lead to the kind of celebration you sometimes see happening around. This is one president who rather give gifts on his birthday than to accept gifts from people. So that's his own way of identifying and celebrating his birthday. So we are yet to reach the stage of having his birthday as a holiday or a glamorous celebration, rotating to counties. I'm not sure that is to happen. If that will happen, maybe that will be in the future.
All right, Mr. Toby, thank you for providing that information. And it is true, the president life story is extraordinary. It is a fact, and every Liberian, I believe, knows that, and that is why he has attracted a huge following, especially the young people. So his life story, is, to put it short, an inspiration to many, and that is one of the things responsible for him being president today. But we want to know, during the celebration, we saw a zombie dance, and Dennis Chai have a question on that. So, but we wrote a clip of the president doing the zombie dance. I don't know what was going on there. So, yeah, is it.
Yeah. I didn't see you, Mr. Toby. Were you dancing the zombie dance too?
All right, folks, that video clip is having some technical issues there. That clip is having some technical issues there. That clip is having some technical issue. We apologize, and we are back with you. Let us make sure that all is well there. Then we are having some technical issue there, so let's leave it at that.
Yeah, let's leave the video.
Let's leave the video. Um, let's leave the video. We are having some technical issue, but Toby, I'm sure you watched the president doing the zombie dance. If you were not in that building, I know it was a church. Then it has a question that might be related to national security. So Dennis, you take it from there.
Yeah, first of all, Mr. Toby, were you in that building?
Oh, of course. I was far ahead of the president in that building. So the way we operate, especially for our job, I'm always ahead before the president arrived at a function. So I was just in the building. It actually took place at the Painesville Town Hall, where a new group of first-time voters have assembled for the launch of their program, and the president was invited to grace that occasion. So yes, I was in the building.
Yeah, who idea was it for the president to dance like a zombie?
It was the president's own idea. No one rose the president out of his ideas. So it was also the president's birthday, remember? And the zombie music's been around. It's been danced by young people, even older people are dancing to the zombie song. Like you see people dance the Jerusalem song around the world. There's been several different videos on the social media and people are dancing that particular song. So the president, as part of his mood of his birthday, thought to put out a few steps of the zombie music. And I think he woke up his seat with that mood of celebration, and he just thought to energize the already filled hall of young people with the playing of the zombie song by the DJ, and he took a few steps of the song, and the entire hall went wild. It was his own way, so nobody told him to dance the song. He just got moving.
Right.
And did that.
To see the commander-in-chief and president of the Republic of Liberia moving in such a way like a zombie, don't you see that has a security issue? They did not.
I don't know what is security about it. Besides him being the president, he's also human. Every one of us have our own human side. So I know on your birthday, besides you being of age, sometimes you're dancing for your kids. Other people on the birthday would rather want to fly the plane and go places.
Right.
On the president's birthday, there's no security implication if a president dances, because where the president
not like a zombie.
But no, the music tells you, there's a line in the music that says you dance like a zombie. So it doesn't mean that you that dance in the song you are a zombie. Some of the lyrics in the songs that we dance doesn't characterize us as the character being spoken about in the music. So the song is called Zombie, and I say that you can dance like a zombie. So if I sit here and move my body like a zombie does, it doesn't mean that I'm a zombie. I'm just dancing to the narrative or the message in the song. And that's the human side. That's the human side of His Excellency President Weah. He does a lot of.
Here's my concern on a serious.
Let me take your concern.
Yeah, my concern is here is a president who we hardly see, like formal cabinet meeting, maybe meeting some dignitaries and doing some things. And
you don't hardly see him.
Yeah, every time we see him, he's either dancing or doing something, that is not too characteristic of a head of state.
No, that is not fair to the presidency. If you say you hardly see the president there, I'm not sure what exactly are you following.
No, I mean in a cabinet meeting, those kind of formal settings.
But cabinet meetings are not for
public.
For public. The cabinet meeting, a policy discussion of forum where the president and some of his cabinet. What comes out of the cabinet meeting is what comes to the public. So if the president is holding a cabinet meeting, it is not possible for us to bring you the sitting arrangement, the discussion in the cabinet meeting. Cabinet meetings are very delicate meeting, and those meetings comes with a lot of different discussion around the table.
Right, so Mr. Toby, I'm talking about not just cabinet meeting dignitaries. I want to see the president of the republic in a more formal setting. But every time I see him, he's either dancing or playing Ludo or doing something.
No, I'm not sure
we saw him dancing like a zombie.
So you've seen the president speak at the UN General Assembly. That's a very
I'm talking about Liberia.
But in Liberia, the president does a lot of different things. You haven't seen the president at functions. You haven't seen him go to occasion and participating in activities. You was watching the activities of the censor that I know you want to talk about. You saw the president to the anti-corruption conference. You saw him at the RIP conference. You saw the president inspect rules. You've seen the president go to inspect market. You've seen the president receive letter of credence. So what more you want to see of a sitting president before you know that the president is also the human? And he also put his besides him being the president, he also a human. So he goes about in his leisure time, like we said the other time here, to release some of those stress and tension that comes with the job, especially on the president's birthday. You know, even if the president could dance the whole song, but he just decided to, do some steps, and it was necessary because of the audience that the president was addressing, and of the arrangement of the activities, and that activities wasn't a diplomatic function. So it was a gathering of first-time voters who are also energized by the music that they dance all around our country. And the president thought to identify with them by doing what they are also doing, by dancing. If you come to Liberia, Denny's and see, you go to our clubs, that's the leading song in town. So what is wrong if the president decided to identify with people who also dance the song? It's not always about you being there and saying, I'm the president, so I will just be here. You need to come between the ladder and find people that will, that you identify with. And at that point in time, he was identifying with the young people.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Toby, let me ask a question on this birthday. Birthday, the interpretation is a representation of your new birth. You are a new person. For those who feel that the president is not the president they would rather like to see in terms of his responsibilities, do we or should we hope to see a President Weah who will be up to the task, maybe to the satisfaction of Liberians who still feel that he's not up to the task here in terms of decision making? Maybe he's not tough enough. Should we see that? And then maybe if you might, does he have a resolution after this birthday? He turned 54.
Well, let me tell you something about the uniqueness of our society. Even before President Weah, Tottenham had his own critics. All other presidents before this president have had some kind of a critics, whether they were opposition. It is not even possible to satisfy your entire household. What's about a country of over 4.5 million people, or even less or more? So it is not about doing things that will satisfy everyone in the country that is equally politically charged, with a lot more of people who claim to know everything about the country. The president is not thinking about the individual satisfaction of individual Liberians out there who hate him or who care less about things that seem to be happening in the country and all it does is to condemn, criticize, and complain. No. So if, for example, the president is paying attention to his agenda, every leader in every part of the world has a set agenda. So if this administration was being derailed or defocused, but they are not. They are keeping their priority issues. They are making sure that they are involved into those engagements that will keep the country peaceful and stable, even though, again, people are not satisfied, and it is not possible for everyone to be satisfied. And you are aware that the country has as many opposition as the government carry as many supporters. So those who you are hearing, and that is where the claim and counterclaim of situation always comes about. You always hear people who are for and people who are against. All right. So you right now, you don't want to see the president dance zombie, or some people out there don't want to see him dance zombie. They think that it is not responsible of a president to do. But there are others who've been cheering the president, for exercising, that humanness in him. So you always have those different views. But is the administration being distracted about those views? No. Is the administration not doing what they plan to do for the country? No, they are keeping their focus because they came on a set agenda. Those things that come as part of the human fate of it, it's not keeping the president distracted. It's not going to change the president administration.
Mr. Toby, if I may inject, so that we'll go to the second issue here quickly. We have a lot of issues here. And so, folks, in cyberspace, we have a lot of issues. We'll be talking about the street light, the reshuffle, population census. We're going to be talking about CDC COP. We saw some pictures flying around that the president is a member of CDC COP. And we want to get some update on the stimulus package. Mr. Toby, the last time we had him, he gave us some news, and we're going to press him on that. And then Mr. Toby came out with something called the CCC. What is he talking about? Smith is in trouble today. So, Mr. Smith, let me come to you here. The reason people are raising some concerns about this zombie song, the country is financially or economically bereaved. So the leader on his birthday should come with a sober reflection in a speech addressing the people and telling him thank you for wishing him well. But we saw the preso, he's dancing the zombie dance, when we have nurses are protesting and all the troubles in the country. So people feel that, is he really serious? Does he really understand that things are tough here? Go ahead.
Look, you need to stop speaking the mind of those Liberians who means well. I'm not sure the issue of the president dancing on his birthday has done any harm to this country. The issue of the nurses, ongoing discussion. The issue of electricity is a national issue, it's been discussed. So on the single day that the president comes up to greet people on his birthday, I see nothing. I see absolutely no discussion surrounding that. The president could have stayed home all day, lock his fans, and tell you that he's having sober reflection. And no one goes in there to even wish him well. That could be his way. On the president's birthday, he did some reshuffle in his administration. Is that not a sober reflection that he wants his administration to succeed? On the president's birthday, he went to church. He had worship service with kids, children without adults went to service with the president. On his president's birthday, he sat and kids of this country offered prayer for him. He spoke to the kids. Was that a sober reflection? On the president's birthday, he went out and gave gifts to young Liberians. Wasn't that a part of a concrete, giveaway on his birthday? He did not go out accepting gifts from people, but he was rather sharing his day with young people of our time, young kids of our country. All right. So that was his way. The conclusion, even at the night of his birthday, he opened his home to diplomats, including the American ambassador accredited to this country. She graced the president's birthday. She was at the president's house by 7:38 our time here. They have people from ECOWAS, ambassadors accredited near this capital. They've gone to wish the president well on his birthday. So you saw all of those things, but that did not catch your attention because you didn't consider that as important. If a diplomat from the American embassy, from the AU, from the European Union goes to the president on his birthday, even though they're going to wish him well, they will also find some time to talk some very serious diplomatic issues, right? Which of course happened during the president's birthday. But all of what happened on the president's birthday, your most simple attention was drawn to the president dancing a zombie song, and I showed that is just.
Do you hold people responsible for that? The president tried to take their attention away from the issues, and he was doing the zombie dance. But let me progress.
No. There is no attention taken away from any issue here.
Okay.
That dance will not stop you from that dance doesn't stop you from talking about your salary. It doesn't stop you from advocating for roles. It doesn't stop people from even advocating if they want to go to protest. That occasion was for the moment, I'm sure we're done with the moment, and we're going ahead with other issues.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Toby. I know we are simply asking the questions because we represent the people.
Oh yeah, I understand. We were simply answering the question.
Yeah, so don't think that that's the only thing we also know about the street light, and we're going to ask you about that. It's just
we're way ahead. We want to provide the clarity.
Yeah, and you're doing a good job. We just want the president to be taken seriously, but when people see him like he's acting like somebody who's about to fall, but that's
he is. You also need to disabuse the minds of people who think that the president isn't serious, because every time you raise the issue of the president not being serious, this country haven't broken down. Our economy is bad, like all other economies of the world right now because of COVID. But even as that, we are maintaining the structure of governance, and people are being paid for what they work for, and the government is staying on track, even in the difficulty. The government having said everything is rosy.
Thank you.
So, yes,
and
go ahead.
One of those things we saw was street lights were turned on. So our attention is not only on the zombie music. So that was a good thing. Tell us about the street light and how long has this been in the making?
Well, I think some time ago we talked about this here. If at all you've been following our briefing, this is something that we've been talking about. Again, if we talk about it, and some people think that we just come to the platform to talk about things that would never happen. This is a Monrovia Consolidated Street Light Project. So the commencement of this street light starts from the ELWA junction, is going straight to Duco. So it's going to take the entire street from ELWA junction straight to Duco Palace on the Broad Street. You're going to see the same light move from the Crown Hill to the St. Paul Bridge via Vartown, Claratown, Lokintown, Douala, all the way to St. Paul Bridge. Then there's the similar project is going to get extended between the ELWA Boulevard Junction, that is SKD Boulevard Junction, to another part of town called 72nd Boulevard Junction. They are doing similar development of streetlights on the road from Johnsonville to Jairus Market. They putting the same lights on the Marco Francis Road, for example. They're doing the similar lights on the Congotown Bike Road. So it's a whole project laid out. What happened on the day of the President's birthday was the initial phase of the project that has commenced. And since the commencement before the President's birthday, the ones between ELWA Junction to Boulevard Junction was turned on as a sound that all of the lights, the poles, the pedestals, and what have you, have been planted. And between now and November 29th, again, I'm giving you a date to mark, between now and the 29th of November, from ELWA Junction to Duco in Central Monrovia, you will see the lights on. From ELWA Junction to Duco Palace will be lighted both sides of the road. So It also tells you that that is not the stop of it. That's just the start. And you're going to see the new traffic lights coming in town very soon. We've been on a traffic lights. So these little things that people don't appreciate. Every time the government goes about doing
don't
it.
Say people don't appreciate.
Oh, but no, Dennis, for you may appreciate it. But we that read the social media, you know how many criticism we've seen on the street light? As I speak to you, we've had one big problem. It's not that we don't have electricity here. We got a hydro that is producing current. But you know why the currents are not in people's home? Because the administrations that ran this country was bringing substandard transformer. As I speak to you on this program tonight, this government has brought in high power transformers. They are going to change all of those broken down transformers so electricity can get into people's homes. We got the power here, but we don't have the transformer to distribute those power. But again, people don't see it. So besides the government putting the current on the road, they are about to put electricity in people's homes because we got the electricity, but we've been lacking transformer to distribute those current into people's residence. So the government is saying we can do it, and they are about to do it.
Good. Mr. Toby, was it a coincidence for this to be turned on the president's birthday, or the president is saying, I'm responsible for this and I want this to be my project? Is that, or just a coincidence? That is not a WIA's project. That is not one of the projects you want to say it is the president's project. So right. There's no 14 to that project. Like I was thinking. So I don't want you to call it a 14 project. It is the Morovia Consolidated Street Lights Project. My question is, why on the president's birthday? Was it just a coincidence?
So why not on the president's birthday?
I don't know. I'm only asking. Why the president's birthday?
So the planners of the installation of the lights thought to give the president the opportunity to switch on the first phase of the lights on October 1. Well, incidentally, October 1 fell on the president's birthday.
That's just the simple. So what's the source of the power? Is it a LEC, or where we're getting this power from?
So the poles are connected to the grid of the LEC. So that's the same thing we're saying here. We got power, but what has been lacking is the distribution of the power. So where you see the poles are planted, the lines are connected to the LEC hot lines, and once the lights comes on, the street lights are on simultaneously. So that is the source of the power. That is not solar partner. That is not solar light. As some people again have said, it is solar light, a Chinese light, and all kind of names they give on the light. But again, the government remains very focused on that issue, and we are looking forward to giving more lights to the country.
Mr. Smith, if I may come in,
please come.
How many street lights do we have lighted already that got people?
Well, I know. How many? I know that the total amount of lights into the corridor that we just listed should amount to 1,500 poles.
But you don't know the total number that on right now.
So the corridor that came on, no, I haven't done a count of that corridor, but I know that in completion of all of the corridors that were being shortlisted for lights, will amount to the total of 1,500 poles in all of those specific areas. Between where the light came on to where the project stopped, they are still planting the poles as we even speak. Even though they put that portion on, but the day after, they were still erecting the poles into the direction that goes towards Central Town and move towards the Ducourt, because the target is put the entire area to Ducourt on from now to the 29th of November. Move to the next phase.
All right. Thank you. Earlier, you said that it is not that we didn't have power, but the district building tools that what we don't have, because the ones we had, you were talking about the transformers when you said that they were substandard. Myself too, I remember listening to some officials from LEC. They complain about the transformers, and even residents have complained about the transformers. So it said that the technicians were the one that came up with this information that you're giving us, that the transformers they have were substandard and were bad, or is it just something you're just saying?
So it is not for us to just come out and say things. So if you heard the ADC management of authority talked about transformer, it means that they've done all of their technical check. And if you heard people in the community tells you that the transformer got damaged, that means the community were carrying more load than the transformer could accept. So those transformers got damaged. And since those transformers got damaged, it's not that the power is not there, but even with the power, the transformer needs to get in a position to distribute the power. And it's been taking the LEC some very difficult times to make sure that they get those transformers in country. So with the intervention of the government, they've brought in transformers that will replace high-grade transformers that they've brought in that will replace those broken down transformers. And they've started doing the shortlisting of communities for onward distribution. So the electricity is about to go to the homes. The communities with damaged transformer and about to receive high-grade transformer. Even as we speak, some communities are enjoying the electricity because they have some transformer that sustain the weight of their community. But with those affected communities and business centers that are affected, they are about to benefit. So the government is thinking about putting the electricity not just on the street, but also get it to the homes of Liberians and businesses so that we can keep our economy or the wheels of our country turning.
Good. Thank you. Let's move to the president's recent reshuffle.
What is wrong with that?
I like it. It's good. So I want you to tell me when the president makes this reshuffle, we see that it was either, there was not much anything new. People were just being moved around. What do you think goes into the president's decision to make those changes?
But you just said reshuffle. So when you reshuffling, that means you moving things around. Even though it was a reshuffle, but you also have some new faces in there. And so it is not just about moving people around. Again, I think it is the constitutional prerogative of the president based on what he wants to see happen at certain institution at a given time. He can rather appoint or nominate individuals to those areas of trust. So those who got nominated and appointed on the president's birthday, we are saying nominated and appointed because among the list of individuals, some of them will have to go for a confirmation hearing. Yeah. I'm told that 2 of the individuals on that list would not go for confirmation hearing because of their area of appointment. So their appointment is considered as an appointment, and the other ones are considered as nominee that will go for Senate confirmation. So I told you sometime back that you should mark the date, October 1, and you wanted to put a spin on it. We already had the information, but it was not for us to it was not for us to diverse the information until the appropriate date. So on the day, prior to the date, you reminded me, I told you, say, keep watching. Let's wait to see what happened on the 1st. And on the 1st, we broke the news of the president reshuffled an appointment. So that is his constitutional right. So we allowed that go in his power.
Right. All right. My attention is drawn to. Go ahead, Mr. Sear.
Yeah, Smith. Reshuffling is something many people have been calling for, and I can argue that rightfully so, because the government has been challenged from day one. And so many felt, I myself too felt the same way, that some reshuffling needed to be done because people were getting so comfortable when, in fact, the economic numbers were moving in the wrong direction. But now here is the much talk about reshuffle that doesn't look like one at all. And what I'm saying that is, let's look at Wilson Tapper. Some people are arguing that he's been misplaced. This is a financial expert, and he sent him to EPA, something that requires somebody with the necessary credentials in that area. And then the most talk about Wambodiki, he stay on the job. You replace another commissioner who Liberians, don't know anything about. The guy they want out is stay on the job. So this doesn't smell a reshuffle. Even Eugene number.
No, let me disagree with you
Mm-hmm.
on those points.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are yet to see what happened on October 1 as a reshuffle, then I'm thinking, what lenses are you using to read? Because the fact of the matter here is that, for example, if the president um, um, relocate or remove Professor Wilson Tappet with a specific name that you made mention of, and brought him to EPA, similar thing could even happen to public works. Because you go to public work, that doesn't mean that you should be an engineer. You can be an administrator, then you can work at public works. And those who are considered as engineers does the work. So the same thing with EPA. Professor Tappet is a very good administrator. And so if the issue of EPA is not just about knowing about the environment, it's also about running the administration of an institution. So the president sees nothing wrong with shifting Mr. Professor Wilson Tappet, even though he's a financial expert. EPA also generate revenue for government. They are involved in a lot. There are a lot of funding that goes to the EPA, which is very important for proper management. So if a financial man who knows administration goes to the EPA, I'm not sure there is something wrong with that. And Professor Tappet has willingly and graciously accepted his relocation to the EPA. We've heard people say he's been misplaced, but he feels that he's not misplaced. So who's thinking about him? He's accepting the job because he thinks that he can do much better to his preferred assignment by the president. And he feels very gracious that he stayed in the government of the country, and he goes to another place to put about his professional expertise. What's the issue of Mr. Len Eugene Nangbe? Eugene Nangbe has been serving here in our country. He's one of the brilliant young men who's grown through government. He's been here from the Taylor administration to the Ellen Johnson administration. He's worked in this administration. The president thinks that it's time to bring some new dynamism to our maritime. And he sends Mr. Nangbe, who is a very good administrator. At maritime, not because you control and the ships flying, carrying our flag and our waters. So it means that you got to be a fisherman or you got a whole special degree in a fishery or what have you. Administration is very important. So those who understand administration can work from anywhere. Those are in the administration, they are technical people. So those who are the technician in those area will also work and what the administrative aspect is being handled. So if the president, for example, found a new commerce minister who is a female, she comes from a very good background. She served in the foreign sector. She was deputy foreign minister for administration. Now she goes a commerce minister. And so the president thinks that she can put some new spice to our commerce and industry of the country. Again, to question that means that you want to do the president's job. But again, it is his constitutional right. And those who he's given the trust will go to the Liberian Senate. They'll go for confirmation. And once they are deemed qualified, they get the job.
Right. Thank you. And the same way, I believe you find nothing wrong if we have someone with the requisite qualification or the profession. For example, the EPA, somebody who has work experience and both career in that area be put to that place. I believe you find nothing wrong. But we talk about that. Let me talk about the information ministry. We find that the deputy information minister has been doing well, unless you tell me otherwise. And Mr. Eugene Fagon, who we know from Bunuburu, has Casaprico. I would think that when the minister proper is sent somewhere, that Eugene Fagon will take his place, unless you are telling me that he's.
That is your thinking. But the
And here
president
is
thinks,
why I'm thinking that way, because
okay,
in our ministry, in our area, we need to promote people from within most of the time, so that people in those ministries will work harder to go up. But when I'm in a place for so long, it's like a dead end, and you bring someone from, let's say, LBA, who will come and learn on the job. So that's why I asked you initially, what goes into the president thinking when he's appointing these people?
so to even think that the current Minister of Information will land on the job is a disservice. That means you haven't read about the current Minister of the nominated minister.
Good.
So Lejehu Renning is one of Liberia's best. In fact, he's one of the best we can boast of in terms of our style of communication in this country. Places his work, including the BBC. He's a British trained communicator. He's been around for a very, very long time. He's a teacher of media ethics in our country. He's taught almost all of the journalists in this country. He's been around the media landscape for a very good number of years. He worked in the past administration, again at ELBC, as one of the deputies there. He got promoted under this administration. And now the president thinks that no one else can step in the shoes of Eugene Nangbe. That's why he brought in Lejehu Rennie. And Lejehu cut across the media landscape. And that's the beauty of people you bring to the job. To understand the terrain that you are being obligated to serve. So Mr. Rennie he's not going to land on the job. He's been around the media for a very, very long time. So on that issue, he's not going to land on the job. The issue of Fagon served a very, big position where he sat as the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs. He controls government propaganda in terms of reaching out to the public, and he's doing very well in that direction. Is it now prepared to be the Minister of Information? The president doesn't think that way. Okay. And the president thinks that he rather keep him in the position that he currently serves and allow him work as a team player and see what happens in the future.
Mr. Toby, you just used the word propaganda. Let me give you the opportunity to think about that. So are you trying to tell us that all Eugene Fagon has been doing is not informing the Liberian people, which is the statutory responsibility of the Ministry of Information, but he has been, carrying on propaganda?
So it left with how you look at the propaganda from the perspective I'm speaking. So my context of propaganda is that the Ministry of Information and the position that Minister Fagon served disseminate government policies and issues. So whatever that Mr. Fagon puts out to the public is the government policy issue. Those issues, goes to the public and informing the public on the government operation. It could be the government informing the nation on a policy issue. And even as that, the propagandas that comes about into the job that comes with the level of work.
Mr. Toby, let me do something. Sorry to interrupt you. I don't do that quite too often.
Go ahead.
Propaganda, I'm going to define it for you. I have it here on my phone. Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. So again, the question, did you really mean to say Eugene Fagon has been promoting government propaganda?
So taking your definition of the word propaganda in the general perspective, I was speaking from a contextual point of view. So I was trying to put that into context. So on the standard form of the definition, we will keep it as giving government information to the public. But even as it is, at times, the work that is done by the minister or deputy minister of information is defending the government against what comes up as propaganda, what is coming from outside of people who attack the government. And the way he responds is helping the government to understand. The president thinks that it is the best way to get going, and he enjoyed the position of Mr. Eugene Fagon, and Fagon is doing a piece of job.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's make progress. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are in conversation with Mr. Smith Toby. He's the Deputy Press Secretary of the the President of the Republic of Liberia. And don't mind the zombie dance. He's doing quite well here.
All right, Mr. Toby, let me progress here. Let's come to population census. Being that we are in the line of work, my job is to look these things up and see what is unfolding in our country. And so we saw President Weah at the launch of the National Population Census. And so now all is set for the population census. So tell us what all happened before the launch. You want to tell us because, this thing was supposed to be held in 2018, but now 2020 has been launched. So what was responsible for the delay and what has been done to make it happen now?
One I think it just speak about the effort put in by the government. And for us to know where we are as a country, the exact population is to hold census. It's been difficult for the Statistic House to conduct that census because they've been challenged financially and other issues that delay the process. So if we are preparing to go to election in 2023, the best thing that this government could do was to mobilize the resources, talk to the partners, including the Swedish government and others, to look for funding to make sure that we know our population. Some people think that we are still 2.5 million. Some people think that our growth may have gone up to 4.5. In the last 10 years, we haven't conducted that census. It's been difficult for the administration before this administration. So now that the president and his team have managed to mobilize the resources, they've talked to the partners internationally and local partners. They've mobilized, they've gotten the funding. They are about to kickstart the census so that we know some of the issues. And it's been difficult for government to also know where to put our developmental priorities. Because in the lack of knowing where the population is, development can get misdirected. So for example, if we assume that Bapolu is highly populated based on what you just see with your naked eyes, and you decide to put in maybe a university or something there, only to find out that it's going to be a waste of resources, then you are doing disservice to that resources. So based on what the census will put out, it also gave government the knowledge of where to drive their development. It is not that the government is going to disenfranchise other counties or other communities, but population goes with development. So we need to know where the population of our country is situated, whether it is in Moserado, or is in Bassa, is in Nima, or is in Lofa, or is in Granjide, or somewhere. Based on all of the information that is about to get collected, is going to give the government some way to make some very informed decision. It is not just about this administration, but the administration to come that will be planning their own leadership development about the country. They use those data to know where they want to place their priority. So it's good that this administration have succeeded in making sure that this can happen. And we look forward to concluding this entire census before going to election with a very precise number of our population that will go to the election, because we get to know if we are 3.5, 6.5, or there's a gap in our population, or there's a growth in our population. So the data collection is about to help us do that.
All right, Mr. Toby, go ahead, Dennis. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And Mr. Toby, that's one reason why you need people with the requisite knowledge, expertise, and experience to be in those areas. Because, for instance, we conduct census every 10 years. So between the 10 years or through the 10 years, you should still know how many people live in the country. And that's the role of the Bureau of Vital Statistics at the Ministry of Health. So the Ministry of Health, based on some numbers, should be coming up with numbers even before we have census. So that's why it's very important to have these kind of people in the place, and don't say, well, as long as you're an administrator, you can do X, Y, Z. That's not a question. I'm only venting. Go ahead, as soon as you ask your question.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, Smith, I know I asked you earlier, but what I want to know definitely is that the first question, do we have all the funding needed to conduct this census that we're talking about? And earlier you were trying to say that with the launch, maybe the work can be done before election. When you talk about election, are you talking about this 2020 senatorial by-election or 2023?
No, we're talking about the 2023 election. December is just a month or two away from us.
Okay.
The process of the census starts. They've given them vehicles, motorbikes to jumpstart the job, and the census is going to prepare for the 2023 election, not the December 8th election.
Okay.
So the conduct of that census is intended to know the size of our growth in our population between now and December 2023. So the point raised by Dennis, the vital sign area in every country, there's a statistic house. So the people that conduct census in our country, they are called leges. They are the ones who carry out the census and not the vital statistics under the Ministry of Health. Even though they equally carried about similar function, but the ones responsible under our organic structure is leges, and that is why all of the funding for such a data collection. And the good thing about it, this in Africa, we in Liberia will be the very first to do a digital launch of our data collection in the West African sub-region. The one that is about to be done will be digital, and is the first time Liberia is going to venture into that. So what we are hearing from the partners, with the level of commitment they given the government, and with the funding made available, is going to be one of the best, because it's going to help not just Liberia, but others who want to see where Liberia sit and how they can be a major contributor to our growth and development.
Thank you. And the reason I said that, because population in a country is not even from one source. So like leges, you're giving them, that's their responsibility. But look at other areas. Like in this country, we have driver license. So people are driver license because everybody is counted. So that's why I was making reference to those who take care of our birth certificates, right? So you must know how many people are born every year. So based on that, you can. But let's move on to CDC COP. Of late, we've seen a movement of people, they call that party hopping. And this time is towards the ruling party. We saw a group of young people that joined the CDC, and that group came from the COP. Now we have a CDC COP. What's up with that?
Well, Liberians got a right to move in and out of political affiliation. Sometimes it's difficult for me to talk on these political party
Yeah,
issues.
so Smith, let me do this.
Mhm.
So leave the party side. Let I come to the area of the president involvement, if you like, because we saw picture of the president like an ID card, and it has that President George Manawia, member COP.
And you
What is
believe
going
that?
on there?
You
Is the
believe,
president now member of the CDC COP?
and you believe that in your investigative mind as
No, I
a.
didn't. I didn't investigate it. I've been waiting for you to ask this question because you speak for the
But
president.
I would love you to investigate. I can even sit here and
I'm doing
do.
my investigation here with you, Mr. Toby. You speak for the president. What a better way to do my
Yeah,
investigation?
but that for sure, you know that
Hmm.
makes no sense.
Okay.
For someone to do of ID card with the personal picture with uh, serial number and what have you, and say the
Hmm.
president is a part of COP, CDC. Again, we are in the 21st century, so a lot of fake things can happen. Just consider that as one of the fake news.
So that is fake news. All right, then let me ask this. But the president is aware that his party, the CDC, now has another auxiliary record, the CDC COP. Is the president aware of that? And has he been able to say anything about it? Because my understanding is that the president see the COP as an institution that is like out there to get him. So why would he, you know, entertain such an idea? Has he said anything about that?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't spoken to the president on any party related issue, especially with COP,
Mm-hmm.
CDC. What I know is that some Liberians from another group of political party have joined the CDC. What the president make of their move, that is within the party discussion. I don't go to party meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opportune to sit in a party discussion with the president and party hierarchy. And so for me to give you a definite answer to what the president think about those moves, like you see people leave from the CDC and go join other political parties. So in the midst of campaign, you expect a lot more to happen. I'm sure you will see a lot more happening
Yeah.
between now and December 8th. And campaign is about to start. I know you want to ask all of the campaign question, but
No,
again, I will equally appeal to you guys to
no, we don't. We don't have campaign.
save me out of these and party related issue, because you
Yeah.
may not get
No.
anything out of me on the what the president think about the party, because I'm not with the president in his party discussion, and I don't go to political party meetings with the president.
All right.
Are you part of any political party, Mr. Smith?
No, I'm a Liberian, and of course I do a piece of job for the country. The president hire my expertise to come and serve the country. I feel very privileged as a young man to do that. I haven't joined any political party. If I would do, maybe it will be in the future. But currently, I hold my political affiliation to myself. I'm a Liberian. I got a right to vote. That is my secret. I can do that when the time comes. But I haven't gone to any political gathering to pledge my support to any political party.
Mr.
Any,
Smith, in
any
the last election, did you vote for President Weah?
In the
yeah.
last election, I did not even vote for president.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That is good enough for me. But let me progress here because of time. We have another show that will be coming up. Let's come to the stimulus package. The last time we were here, you told us that it was because of COVID-19 and then some individuals that the government contracted to help with the distribution were doing some dubious things. And so the government needed to put a halt to that process to weed those guys out and get the process started. And you even went further by saying, I think all was set for the distribution to continue. And earlier we were talking about the census, right? And I think you said all the money needed to conduct the census, with the funding was secured, just as the funding for the stimulus was also secured, but now we're having challenges, or the government is having serious issue distributing the rest. So my question is, will we not see what is happening with this census to go on with, I mean, with the rice distribution to go on with the census?
No, we hope not. There's a two different thing right there. The stimulus package was government way of reaching out to people in the midst of these difficult times of our country, yeah, the world. The census issue is by far different. Census, while it's true that the government is involved and the government is playing a part into it, bulk of the funding from that process is coming from international partners who are interested in helping us complete a process of data collection in our country. So those two things are by far different. I know
No,
that there's
Toby. You had WFP to help you, and even the international partners contributed to the funding for the stimulus package. So to use that as an excuse, I don't see how that is different.
So, Mr.
WFP,
Toby, Mr. Toby,
WFP, hello, 1 minute.
Yeah.
WFP was being hired to do a piece of job. They did not give us free money. They did not give us a volunteer service. They were being hired to do a piece of job. They were being paid for the job. The census, the funding that comes to this census is coming from international partner. We are not hiring them. So there's a difference.
yeah, Mr. Toby, just give us an update on the stimulus package, if you don't mind.
Well, as we speak, the last time I checked on it, from the current outgoing Minister of Commerce, they were still working on their final data. In the last 2 weeks, our schedule around the president has been very tight with movement and activities of the president on other issues. So I'm having follow-up on that status as to where they are with the stimulus package, where they are with the distribution. And so I wouldn't want to tie myself to a specific detail to say that they are doing it right now as we speak. What I know of that I can speak to authoritatively is that there was this disaster that took place, I think, some time ago in the Cinco area that led to the death of some individuals there. And there's an emergency disaster team that the president set up, made some commitment. They've lived up to that commitment as of the weekend by giving those people some money for relocation and resettlement. But on the current movement of where that stimulus package is, I wouldn't want to speak to it because I haven't gotten the full detail to where and what exactly seems to be happening as we speak.
Mm.
Wow.
That
tells me the rice
that's not a
distribution
good
is in
news.
limbo.
Yeah, that's not good news.
No, because I'm not informed as we speak, will not give you a conclusion that it is in limbo. My information to you should be exact and precise. So you wouldn't want me come here to give you half-baked information. I want to tell you something that your audience here, can rely on, and not to just be speaking because I'm opportune to speak to you. So if I'm not informed at the moment on the issue or on the subject matter, there's nothing wrong to tell you about that particular subject matter, and that should not give you the conclusion that the situation is in limbo.
All right.
We can still talk about it another day.
All right.
Yeah.
Dennis?
Another situation, stimulus the update just reminded me on the, because we've been talking about it, you are in the office of the feminist in chief. Any update on this whole roadmap to this whole rape issue and everything in between there?
Well, I think the Ministry of Gender has been doing very well on the issue. I'm sure the way in the last 2 months before the roadmap got launched, with all of the conversation around sexual and gender-based issue, since the launch of the roadmap and putting into place the modality to solve some of those issues, you can now see how the issue, I don't want to say have subsided, but it tells you that the Ministry of Gender is doing a lot more since the launch of the roadmap, and they are communicating their work and the fundings with the Office of the President. What is being vetted right now is to find the chief prosecutor, like the president promised. Again, because it is something that is very serious, it's a very delicate piece of job that needs to be done. The president thinks that thorough vetting, as usual, that he's done in all of his processes leading to appointing people, has been carried out, and we are looking forward to sometime very soon that we'll have a chief prosecutor specifically on the issue of rape and other sexual-related violence.
All right. Folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our bi-weekly program, Q&A with Smith Toby. Mr. Toby is the Deputy Press Secretary of the Republic of Liberia. And anytime we grab him in this hot seat, we ask him questions not only on our mind, but also on the minds of many Liberians. Mr. Toby, you know, my job is to also follow your press conferences. And the recent one you had, you came up with something called the Triple C or the CCC. And then you added to that, and you used the word haters. And you used that word here some time ago, and you got a little chastised by our audience. What is going on? What is CCC? And why are you going around with the hate?
And Mr. CA, the context there is when we refer to the CPP, he said they were not CPP, they were CCP.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mr. Toby.
You know, sometimes I like the way you guys can place the issue.
Right. We are smart guys.
You are following issues in our country. And I know you follow religiously.
We do.
Do you know why our country is the way it is? Do you sometimes sit in your commentary booth or maybe in your leisure time and see why we are the way we are as a country and why we are, and when you think we will graduate from this point? The country is hateful.
What?
It is. Maybe some of you guys said in the US, you know, we not know it. But we that live here, we know, look, I live here throughout my life. Right? I'm 48 now. What I'm experiencing in my age, at age 48, I'm not sure I've experienced that in the last 12 years.
Really?
Seriously.
So it tells you that we've changed around ourselves with so much bitterness. Places that some of us, when we were in government, used to go, you go there now, people look at you with different mind. So we are breeding a generation or community of hate. Friends, young people. So it's no secret about you saying people hate. You see the way simple things that people can sit to discuss turn to be violent. You go to the new media, which is the social media, see how people attack people for no reason. People want to control your life like they created you. They want to determine where you turn, where you sit, and who you talk to at a certain point in time. I'm not sure that's the Liberian you live in here 12 years ago or 25 years ago.
Mr.
If
Toby.
the president appoints a young man, who goes after that young man? The young peers, people of his generation. You'll never see President Weah or any president, even during President Salif. When she appointed older person in the government, you never saw those older people going after that old man. But our young people nowadays, they claim to know everything. So once it is not them, some of them, that means it should not be you or it should not be another person. And that's the hate that is in our society. This country is becoming a country that people hate people. So when I use the word hate, I mean to say what I say because I see it every day.
Right.
And the next thing about it is you see people sit and see reality, but once it is not them, all it does is to complain, they condemn, and they criticize. Those who are complaining today were just there yesterday. Those who are criticizing today were just there 12 years ago. Those who are condemning today was just there few years ago. But the same situation that they left, that they did not solve, now they're complaining about those situations, they're condemning those situations, they are criticizing the same situation every day. So if you live in a society with a lot of hate in it, and all you get, President put on light, people complain, they condemn, they criticize. President face rule, they complain, they condemn, they criticize. President dance zombie, they condemn, they complain, they criticize. President go to meeting, they condemn. President speech, they condemn, they criticize, they complain. So where are we headed? So those Liberians who are in that group are the CCC in my mind, because they'll always complain. From now until George we are 10 expire, they will complain, they will condemn, they will criticize. Take it from me, every day they'll go about doing that. So it's nothing strange. So those things you hear about hate, it's not a secret. It's no secret. People hate people here for nothing. People, right. I don't want to call it jealousy. Yeah. That is not. I can jealous you constructively. The way I see you do your studio, I feel jealous. I want to do that. I want to do the same thing here. I want to sit here and do the same brand you've done in your studio and do something here of my own. That's constructive jealousy. But when people hate you, they will not jealous you. They come after you with so much passion of hate.
Thank you.
So when you hear me speak about that hate, it's the kind of society that we find ourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Toby. And really, I know I can feel how passionate you are about that. On October 2, you posted on your Facebook, haters will see you walking on water and say because you can't swim. Even if you dance on water, your enemies will accuse you of raising dust. And you have your pictures. But in my view, what is more hateful than 60,000 rebels coming to overthrow and killing people in the street? So when you say hate as if it started today, I'm thinking, okay, where has it been? So in my mind, we had first, we had a president who was killed and disemboweled. We had a war that took us over 10 years with brother against brother, sister against sister, tribe against tribe. So we have done all that. Is there anything worse than that, than what we see today?
Yes. The reason why I'm answering you with emphatic yes is that we fought war for 14 years. We went around the world and people came here, they intervened, and we said we put aside our differences. We have had peace here for over decades now. So that tells you that what happened in the past in 1979 are all captured in history. What happened in the 14 years of our war are things that we need to teach our children not to revert to. But if we are bringing semblance of those things in the 21st century, in our current generation, you hear some young people standing on the street, they say they want war. Those are the ones that did not see war. Right. But if you saw the war and felt what the war brought to you, you would not support any young generation of young people who think that war is the answer.
Right.
Mr.
But
Toby?
again,
All right. Let bring in our callers. If you're just joining us, we almost about to wind down, but we want to give
yeah,
our
one down.
folks the opportunity to call in and interact with Mr. Toby. Call 605-313-6004. The code is 791403. Go ahead, Mr. C.
Thank you. And Mr. Toby, I saw your passion came out in a very strong way. But for me, the way I see it, I don't know that much, but in Liberia, Liberians didn't have this opportunity that we have now of speaking out through your cell phone on your own personal page. And I have this sense that once people are given the opportunity to express themselves, even though some of them may come out a little more over the top, but the fact that they have the opportunity to do so will not make them to do anything further. So that I think our society is at this point of transition. I thought you will understand that more so being a media guy who understand that, it's part of the right to free speech, even though you can be held accountable. But don't you see it that way? You only see danger.
So I like the way you put the held accountable portion of it there.
Mhm.
But how many of us out there know that what we say we are to be held responsible for it? Now, if you go about denigrating your country and because you got free speech, if you wake up in the morning and just put your cell phone on because you got data and you sit somewhere on your porch or in your living room or in your house and insult the entire country and abuse women, and no one sees that responsible part of you, even in our being responsible citizen, we owe this country a lot. Things we say on our very platform could help or damage the country. I still hear people talking about, investors can't come to the country. I've gone to several meetings with this president. And to be frank, some of our action, the last time we talked about this here, if we are taken to the street every 1 week, if we are mobilizing young people to be violent every 2 days, tell me, even the philanthropists out there, the rich people of this world, what will encourage them to take their resources to come to a country that every 1 week people on the street because they got freedom of speech, they got freedom of expression. Every 14 days, there's another situation. So our own action to our country affect the growth of the country. But
Thank you,
are we responsible in our mind that we are also contributing to the backwardness of the country because we sit in our comfort and take the social media and say, who told you say no bad thing happening in Ghana? Or even in the great America that you sit, or even in
they are saying worse here, Mr. Toby. But let me bring in our caller. We have some long distance caller because Mr. Toby, honestly, it comes from the territory, and you sound like you are whining. But let me take my caller and you.
No, I'm not. I understand this terrain very well, so I don't whine about these things. I just put forth my points.
Thank you. Our first caller is Francis Gibson. Francis, it looked like a long distance number. If it is not, Francis, go ahead. You are live. Where are you calling from?
Yes, hello. My name is Frank Gibson. I'm calling from Paris.
Okay, Paris. I saw that. Go ahead quickly.
That mean Paris, every week they get yellow jacket, they can be protesting there. Yellow jacket.
Yeah.
and they are getting investors too, but in Liberia, you guys are whining about investors.
Yeah, because
hold on, let Frank. Oh, Frank Gibson, not Francis. Go ahead, Frank.
Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, you see, the situation in Liberia is very saddening. I want to agree with Mr. Toby because it's just unfortunate. For me, I feel people still believe that Jowiya cannot be president because Jowiya is president, and there are some transformation happening in the country positively. So they will do everything in their own power to see how best they can frustrate, I would say, the presidency. And they are forgetting to know that they are not doing any harm to the presidency. They are doing harm to the common people of Liberia. Now, if somebody will still sit and think that Joe Weah will not run Liberia perfectly, they are mistaken. So the only thing I think, Mr. Toby, the people will resort to try to create problems to scare away investors from coming to the country. I think that's their only aim. Because things that are happening now, they now expected that Jowea could do some of these things.
Any disclaimer, Frank? Any disclaimer?
Yes, of course. So those are some of the things that is happening in Liberia. Not because the people they want to express hate, but they still believe that the man in power was not supposed to be in power.
Thank you, Frank.
And they are trying to spread these things in the ears of those young ones who never experienced war. But the unfortunate part of it, the other day I listened to Mr. Ure. I will die for Liberia. If it comes to take my life, it's unfortunate. Mr. Bernard Ure will stand today and say he will die for Liberia. When he was one of the It was a main purchasing arm of illegal weapon entry into Liberia. Today he wants to die for Liberia because he don't want to see John Weah in power.
All right, thank you, but you didn't make that disclaimer whether now you are a citizen or a CPP member.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Let's go to
Mr. Liberian.
Let's go to Mr. James Eastman. Jimmy, you are live.
Oh, okay. Thank you again. Focus on Liberia. And a special thanks to the honorable guest, Mr. Smith Toby. My brother, I heard the anguish in your voice just now when you were talking. But here's something. First of all, those who claim that George Weah should not be president, I don't understand where they're coming from. Because he has been winning elections over a decade now. He has been the front runner. He is the most popular vote. Unless you're telling me you do not believe in a democratic form of government, before you will say, they claim that the former president made him. No, this man had more votes than the former president before. We know these as a fact. Why are you saying today that she made him when he has been the front runner all the time? We are not. I think one of the key issues, Brother Toby, comrade, we're not honest to ourselves. We're not honest. First of all, before you start changing things, you got to be honest to yourself. We have this man has been the forerunner. He's a Democratic popular vote. Nobody gave it to him because it was tense. Everybody know how tense it was during the last election, and it was expected that he won. He beat all those other people running with him, clear majority. So why are they claiming this? But here is where I see we can do some improvement. All of Africa, when they change a leader doesn't change things very much. It's gradual. It's a gradual process. But what we can do is not try to avoid some pitfalls that we have seen before. For instance, what if we have more women in the government? That may be upset. Because when you see a whole lot of men doing something and repeating the same thing, maybe if you had more women. How about modesty? What I notice, everybody wants to live large. Well, if you have 90, what's the percentage now living below the poverty line? If you have your people living before the poverty line.
If you can wrap that up quickly, we have.
Yes, if you have plenty of people living, don't you need to live modestly? I mean, come on. You have to look at with the big picture. What does it show? So I think if we can avoid certain pitfalls, yeah, we can't stop the hate, but we can at least, do something to show that we are modest and we're not trying to emulate other people before us.
Thank you, Jimmy. Let me bring in Kesali Double for 40 seconds, and then we take our last overseas caller. Kesali, quickly.
Thank you very much, FOL, and thanks to Smith for coming on the show again once more. I listened to the brother give all his explanation talking about hate. And the child and outstanding. People are bitter when they see the reality of things happening right in our faces, and other people who think they know more than us come and lie to us about what we are seeing. Visible things, reality, we see them happening, and then you come and lie, and then you want us to sit and be happy about it. We start right here just because we are who did not have the president, we are who did not have the first $5. Came to power in no time. He built duplexes. They came back to all the tell all the rich men, but he had never told all the source of the money that built those houses. We start right here, $16 billion like $1 got in this thing. The president set out an investigation committee. Up to present, we haven't heard anything about that money. Though the finance minister came over and told that no money was missing, but he sat there and allowed his government to go to court with the former federal bank officials and the law that case. We start here, $25 million mobile exercise went on, a committee was set up, and up to now we are not getting any information out of some of these things. And then you come on and say people hate. I don't think people hate. Like the previous caller just said, people want to fight and the fights are not being told. And because people keep lying to people and we are seeing the reality of things that are happening, that's the reason why you see us doing the way we are doing. No one takes Liberia. People are speaking on Liberia because they love Liberia. If we take Liberia, we wouldn't be speaking on Liberia. We wouldn't be wasting our media back to be posting on Liberia. People would not be wasting their time taking part in talk shows to be talking about Liberia. Because we don't have interest in it. But because we have interest in it and we want the right thing to happen, that is why we are doing these things. And Mr. Toby, I want you to please do me a favor. Please, for the sake of Liberia and for everybody, you guys should please help the president with his reading skills so as to help. I'm not just sarcastic, I'm just being real. So as to make him sound presidential, sound like a leader when he's reading out there. I'm kindly begging you to do this for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me take my last caller. It's an overseas caller. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Good evening from us here in London. My name is Joseph. Where are you?
Joseph, where were you?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Listen, thank you for the program with my everyday sport press secretary from the Ministry of Information. He's a great guy. I appreciate him a lot. And I respect him. He gave balanced report all the time, and I encourage him to continue. You see, the last guy that just left the line, I just want to inform him that he's an angry man, and he should go and do his research well. When you are angry, nothing is good. Nothing good you can see. He's talking about money missing. He said got a theory. He still believing the theory that 16 billion got missing in an economy of 17 billion. This is unbelievable. But I'm not surprised though. This is how they are taught. When people are bent on getting misinformation and disinformation and getting out there, they cannot change. Now, I'll come to the point where today we're talking about hate. Yeah, hate. It is true. People are hateful. And in this administration is coming out because they saw that one man from one Gibraltar, one Latin place should not be president. He's president today. Well, how do they want him to appear? How should he appear? Has we have gotten in the street naked before? He is presidential always. And to close focus on Liberia, you guys are also contributing to the problem. You guys don't have balanced information all the time. Every time we see you people lay on like opposition. Many times we see you people, you, Spoon TV, and the other guys, you guys are always feeling hate in our community, and this is wrong. Listen, if there's any war in Liberia tomorrow, we'll all suffer it. We'll all suffer it. We'll all suffer.
Yes. Give an example of the hate and the unbalanced thing that we're doing. Give an example.
The unbalancing you guys are always doing is when the government does good, you guys don't report it. You guys don't report it. Anything that you guys report all the time is negative. It's always negative, negative, negative. And it's not good. When war comes tomorrow, whether you're in America or in Australia or not, you will feed it. That's the same thing that happened to us in the 90s. Everybody thought they were coming from some door. Today we are all around the world. We cannot go back home. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you. Mr. Smith, we don't have much time, so we'll just use your concluding statement to just end, and the people, what they fail to know is we don't report news, we only ask the question. But go ahead, you can respond to our callers and then we can wrap it up.
Well, let me just say thanks to you guys, and thanks to the viewers and those who took up the time to call. Our point here is not to come here to convince anyone out there about the reality of life or what is taking place in Liberia. What we intend to do is to be very factual in what we know. And it's difficult for someone to know something and telling you, but when you get your mind made up, no matter what we say here, would never convince you. But again, it is always good that we try to give you the information as we know them, so that we can keep our country safe. The country we're talking about is our country. Is Liberia. I'm not sure there's anywhere out there that is more precious to any one of us than Liberia. Whether we like it or not, there's a president here called President Weah. He was born here, grew up here, went to international stardom. He's back in this country. He's been popular from his days on the football field to his activities around the world. Today, he remains as one of the most popular men of our generation. He's serving a country. There are some people who are stuck in the mind that will never believe that President Weah can be president or should be president of this country. So no matter what we say here, they will never get convinced. They take one story, they make it the Lord and gospel, and it goes out there with them. Again, we need to protect this country. The peace we enjoy can be protected by all of us. If we turn it the opposite.
Some trouble there from Mr. Smith. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Smith, you froze right there, but we want to say thank you so much.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate you being here and explaining things from the mind of the president. We are, even though some of us have never met a president, but meeting you, we feel like we're in the president's office already.
Yeah, thank you. You know, that's the opportunity.
I don't feel that way, but this is how I feel.
How do you feel
that way? But this is how I feel. I feel that there will always be opposition, and I feel that opposition is always good because it gets the one in power on his toes and on his feet, that he's not complacent. And then he will be reminded every day that someone is after this job and that person wants to do this job. So I'd rather do it better so that maybe, since I'm desirous of another term, I can get that term again.
So 1 minute. So you feel like an opposition doing that? Because you don't feel
my commentary. I'm not taking questions. No, we are closing, Toby.
You don't feel like Dennis. You feel the other way. You feel like the opposition holding the government feet to the fire. That is what you're alluding to.
I just explain myself how I feel. What I feel. If you want me to repeat,
you feel like an opposition.
No,
that's a simple thing.
I'm not.
You feel like an opposition holding the government feet to the fire.
I'm not opposition. I'm not opposition.
I see you, yeah. I see you. I see you.
For you, are you pro-government? Anyway,
no, I'm doing a piece of job for the government, yeah. So I'm a pro-government because I speak for the government. So I'm a pro-government.
For me, I'm not pro-government. I'm not opposition, but I happen to feel that There got to be two sides in this political era. And it's best for every democracy. We can't have it
So
one way.
what side are
the
you?
days of TWP.
What side are you? What side are you?
I'm on no side. I just know that there are two sides, and I'm telling you there are two sides. There is your side that supports the president, which is a good thing for democracy. And there is another side.
I am on the side that support the president. What side are you?
I am on no side.
No, but we're talking two sides here. So I got one of the sides, right?
Yeah.
What side are you?
No side.
Mr.
No,
Smith,
you don't take a side.
Why do you want?
I will take no side.
Why do you want to Donald Trump the man?
Are you trying to one more dick me here? Is that what you're trying to do? We have to close this broadcast. So, folks, as I was saying, it is always best for us to have two sides, two people, two groups that see it differently. Because the last time I checked, they told me two hands seems to be better. The two heads, sorry, seems to be better than one. And that's what I believe. On that note, folks, bye-bye. See you soon.
We all love you, man.